Welcome back to First and 10, presented by Allstate with Sporting News college football writer Matt Hayes. I'm Stephen Levine in the Sporting News studio. Now, Matt, you are a real live Heisman Trophy voter.
Honest to goodness.
Honest to goodness, in the flesh, or at least the virtual flesh. But is it fair to say that this year's Heisman field has left you a little underwhelmed?
Stephen, let me take you back 30 years ago when a guy by the name of Big Dog Herschel Walker won this award. Maybe the greatest college football player ever. You can make that argument easily. Now, what people don't remember is among that class of Heisman finalists that year were a couple guys by the name of John Elway, Dan Marino, Anthony Carter, Eric Dickerson. Let me tell you something, Stephen. Those guys aren't walking through the door this year, okay? We got Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel. We got Colin Klein, and we've got Manti Te'o as our three finalists. I'm just not seeing it. I'm not feeling the love, Stephen. I got to tell you, because when you look at this season and you look at the players and you think to yourself, okay, who are guys when they're playing that you cannot turn away from? I would say Manziel's probably among that group, okay? He's not at the top of that group because at the top of that group are two wide receivers, Marquise Lee of USC and Tavon Austin of West Virginia. Those are guys you flat out do not want to turn your head when they're on the field. Manziel had a terrific season. Colin Klein has been up and down. He just doesn't have that sexy it factor. I don't even think Manti Te'o has that it factor, but he plays for Notre Dame, obviously, which is the big deal. It's just a very odd Heisman year right now, Stephen. And I think no matter who wins it, there's going to be a lot of people thinking, all right, whatever.
It just doesn't feel right. I mean, odds are that Manziel's going to get it. That's what all the predictors are saying, but it just doesn't feel right to give the Heisman Trophy to a freshman.
Yeah, I don't really think it's about a freshman, or I don't really think it's about a defensive player. To me, and this is really it more than anything, it's just I don't see a guy where you just go, wow. Nobody has the wow factor among those finalists. Now, Marquise Lee has the wow factor. Tavon Austin has the wow factor. None of those guys have the RG3 factor where you go, man, I cannot take my eyes off this guy. And I think that's where you start to think, well, you know, all right, whatever. Whoever wins it, wins it. I've talked to a few Heisman voters, and they all say, well, I guess I'll vote for Manziel. And it's kind of like that. You kind of think to yourself, all right, well, we'll see what happens.
All right, now, this is the time of the year where the coaching carousel really heats up. It'll only get hotter as time progresses. But you're saying that the two hottest coaches in college football probably aren't going anywhere.
Clearly, the two hottest guys right now in college football, and pretty much every year right now at this point, are Chris Petersen of Boise State and Gary Patterson of TCU. These are two guys, both from Cal Davis. These are guys that recognize and understand the value of working hard, doing the right thing, getting a job you like, and being happy with where you are, okay? It's amazing to me that every time a job opens up, I keep hearing, well, maybe Chris Petersen will be interested, or maybe Gary Patterson will be interested. I truly believe, Stephen, that these two guys are staying where they are unless their dream jobs open up. And I believe, you know, I've talked to both of them. I know both of them. I think if you look at these two guys, Chris Petersen's dream job would probably be Oregon. And you know, I guess that could come open if Chip Kelly decides to go to the NFL. I think Gary Patterson's dream job would probably be Texas, and that may come open soon. I don't think these guys are going to jump to jobs just to jump to jobs. They're going to go to a job where they want to be, where they can finish out their careers. They're very happy right now where they are. And it's just amusing how every time a job opens up, these are the guys, oh, maybe this will be the one that Chris Petersen goes to. Maybe this will pull Gary Patterson out of TCU. Not going to happen.
Yeah, well, they've had plenty of opportunities over the past several seasons and from some fairly decent programs, some big conference schools, and neither of them have taken the bait yet.
No, and I think they all follow the kind of the philosophy, the Dan Hawkins philosophy, actually, when he was at Boise State, was bigger isn't always better. And you know, and Dan left for Colorado and kind of found out bigger wasn't always better. So I think those guys realize where they are. They're happy where they are. They understand that they've got a good thing going right now. And the best thing for them to do would just be wait. And if something happens, something crazy happens, and their dream job opens up, yeah, go look at it. And even then, they may not leave.
All right. Well, the dream has come true for the Mac Daddy Northern Illinois University Huskies. They're going to play Florida State in the Orange Bowl. But some people say, well, look, but that means some better teams, some higher-ranked teams are relegated to lesser bowls. Is it right that NIU is going to a BCS bowl?
Yeah, let me tell you something for everybody that's complaining about this. Boo flippin' who, okay? Guess what? Everybody knows the rules when the season begins. We all know what they are. We can all complain about them before the season. We can complain about them after the season. Those are the rules, okay? And we follow rules in this country. It's America, all right? So what Northern Illinois did is they followed the rules. They did what they had to do. And on the last week of the season, they got in. So now they're in a BCS Bowl. And now we start hearing everybody complaining about, oh, they're not as good as Georgia. They're not as good as South Carolina. They're not even as good as other non-BCS schools. So what? They did what they were told to do. They got in. Deal with it.
But the complaints aren't really about NIU specifically. Aren't the complaints really about the system that created the opportunity for them to get to a BCS Bowl?
No, because we haven't heard these complaints in previous years, Stephen. Because in previous years it's been, oh, Boise State's getting hosed. How are they not getting in? It's about the team. The team and what they've done. Everybody says, oh, they lost to Iowa. How do you lose to a 4-loss team? They lost to a 4-loss team. They beat no one else. Okay, they did what they were supposed to do. All right, move on.
All right, well, we're going to move on as well. That's Matt Hayes. I'm Stephen Levine. Thanks for watching First and 10, brought to you by Allstate.